person that you sit in front of, that you take knowledge from, you will get affected by the traits and the characteristics that he chooses to adorn himself with. I'll mention this point, subhanAllah, of Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i rahimahullah. Look, wallahi, what he says. It's ajib, right? He says, من أحب أن يفتح الله قلبه, right? ويرزقه العلم فعليه, whoever wants Allah Azza wa Jalla to open his heart and to grant him knowledge, upon him is to do the following. He mentions a bunch of things. One of the points that he mentions is the following, subhanAllah. Look. وَتَرْكُ مُخَالَطَةِ السُّفَاةِ, to stop hanging around with foolish individuals or individuals who speak in a very foolish way. وَبَعْضِ أَهْلِ الْعِلْمِ الَّذِينَ لَيْسَ مَعْهُمْ إِنصَافٌ وَلَا أَدَبٌ. He says you should even stay away from some scholars, people who have knowledge that don't have insaf, that don't have fairness and etiquette. I came across this like, subhanAllah. Because sometimes you see, right, brothers who might hang around with a certain sheikh. He might have knowledge, but he can't stop speaking bad about others. I know it's part of the religion, and the sheikh discusses this here right at the end as well, that at times you need to protect the religion from false additions being inserted into it. ولكن someone whose tongue is so loose, wallah, you're going to become someone who has a loose tongue. Their bad etiquettes will now begin to rub off of you. Right? Or if there is a sheikh now that's extremely arrogant, belittling others, it's all about him, constantly showing that he is better than the other. I've met mashayikh, my brothers and my sisters. Let me talk about our Shaykh Amir Bahjat. You guys heard of him? Right? Extremely young. And he was given a position to teach in the Haram of Al-Medina. Right? And I'll conclude with this. And then the rest, inshallah, I'm going to teach it again in Leicester. It'll be recorded, I'll put it up online. Right? Shaykh Amir Bahjat, right? Allah blessed him with a position. He's of Turkish descent, by the way. Do you guys know that? If you want fiqh, go to him. Hanbali fiqh, huh? Maybe most of you guys not Hanbali. But the way he breaks it down, the way he makes it so simple, Allah. He's of Turkish descent. Right? And he was given a position to teach in the Haram even though he was what? In his early 30s. I've never seen that with anyone else. He used to teach Zad al-Mustaqni'. So young. Right? And Allah gave him this position, and it did not surprise me. You know why? He is a role model when it comes to humility. Shaykh AbduSalam Ash-Shuway'ir, he would come from Riyadh to teach fiqh. And Shaykh Amir, right, who teaches in the Prophet ﷺ's masjid, who's got a chair, he is a professor in fiqh. You know where he's sitting? He's sitting at the feet of that sheikh who has come over from Riyadh. We used to look at him, wallahi, just watching him is a lesson in within itself. The tawadu', the humility that he has. Not somebody who is sitting right at the back. He knows that he needs what that sheikh is saying, but he doesn't want to show the students that he's needy. Right? Or he doesn't want to rub shoulders with his students. Shaykh Amir is sitting there with his students. And wallahi, he only elevated in our eyes. This is a big thing, my brothers and my sisters, that stops people from being able to get knowledge. Sometimes you get a position of authority by becoming the imam of a masjid. And that imam may not have studied accordingly. But he doesn't sit down. Because if I sit down, people are going to think, wallahi, that I am needy. Or how can I rub shoulders with students of mine or individuals who pray behind me? And back in the day, you know, the rich, I remember our Shaykh AbduSalam Ash-Shuway'ir, he would mention this. Back in the day, the rich would not want to sit in the gatherings of knowledge in the masjid because there were poor people there. They didn't want to rub shoulders with them. And this is a type of takabbur. Talibul ilm, a student of knowledge, remains a talib al-ilm, no matter how much of a shaykh he becomes, until he meets Allah from the cradle to the grave. Right? But doesn't want to show the people that he's needy after getting a position or after having memorized the Qur'an. Wallahi, there's so much that he ends up getting deprived from. Right? I would mention this a lot to the students in Al-Medina. A lot. Right? That sometimes we stop going to classes that we desperately need because there's someone sitting there that we knew from back home. But now you have a reputation to live up to. هذا من تلبيس إبليس. This is from the deception of Iblis. Right? One should not care who's sitting there. Right? Who is by my side? I take the najwa and أحتاج إليه. And Ibn Jawzi mentioned that. He mentioned that in his kitab, Talbis Iblis. Right? And sometimes it happens with fathers and their children. The father knows that he hasn't really done well throughout his life in acquiring knowledge. And mothers as well. And you guys are not from them because you've all sat here. Right? Wallahi, I don't want my son to see that I'm sitting in that gathering, that I'm needy. Yeah. هذه مشكلة كبيرة. Shaykh Amir Bahjat, wallahi guys, he's sitting there right in the front. And he's not just sitting there. He's like, I'm like, Shaykh, yani, am I, right? I'm thinking to myself, where are you getting this hand power from, yani? أنا تعبت. Writing everything that the Shaykh is saying. And then you wonder why Allah gave him that position. وَمَا تَوَاضَعَ أَحَدٌ لِلَّهِ إِلَّا رَفَعَهُ. Right? So easily approachable. He'll give you time. Just like the Messenger ﷺ gave people time, right? Even though he was the Prophet. But today, wallahi, look, I'm too busy. When the Messenger ﷺ had X amount of wives, he was the general, he was the mufti, he was the qadi, the judge, and he still gave people time. Right? Tawadhu is one characteristic that one really needs if he wants to get anywhere in life. And again, I'm being selective in my words. I'm not just talking about a student, I'm talking about someone who wants to get somewhere in life. Because the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَمَا تَوَى أَحَدٍ, that is nakira, it's an indefinite. Right? وَالْحِكْمَةُ ضَالَةُ الْمُؤْمِنِ يَلْتَقِطُهَا حَيْثُ وَجَدْهَا. Hikmah, it is the lost property of an individual. Wherever he can find it, he'll take it. No matter what the circumstances are.